in on a trade. So the 200 EMA, that's 1 point. If I see it on the top, this red line, if I see that on the top of the Bollinger Band, that is 1 point because I'm looking for a sell setup. If it's on top, it's telling me that the trend is going down. If it's on the bottom, it's telling me that the trend is going up. If it's going across, it's telling me that the trend is going nowhere. It's just going side by side. That's consolidation. So you can find, buy and sell opportunities there. Okay. So first things first, that's 1 point for me. All right. So this, I'm not even going to go here because I'm not looking for a buy opportunity. I'm going to show you what I'm looking for before getting in on a trade. And this is just with this strategy. This isn't even with divergence strategy yet. Okay, so this is a great setup just with this strategy. All right, so one thing for sure, if you know the direction of the trend is your friend. You want to go with the trend. Your probability of winning that trade shoots up. Okay, so from, I don't know, like 70%. If you're going against the trend, I don't advise it. You still can make money. I go against the trend, but I know how to trade the trend. I know how fast you have to get in and out if you're going to trade against a trend. So that's advanced trading. I don't recommend that for beginner traders. All right, so go with the trend. So the overall trend is going down. This, we got it. We got the 200 EMA on top. That's one. Candles hitting the top of the Bollinger Band, which consists of the red line, green line. All right, so these red lines, strings here, they look like strings. All right, so when it hits the top, that's another point because it reverses. It's like rubber bands. So think of Bollinger Band as rubber bands. It's just going to bounce off the rubber bands. So when it hits the top, it's like hitting the ceiling. When it hits the ceiling, it comes back down. Think of a ball. So if it comes back down, hits the floor, what does it do? It bounces up. So same thing with the market. It bounces up and down, okay? So that's a cool thing about the Bollinger Bands. It's a visual thing that you can see where the market's at, and then you can predict and the direction where the market is going because of the Bollinger Band. It's a useful indicator, okay? So we're looking at the top, bam, that's 2 points. Now we have, and this indicator, it only gives us, there's actually a line, but they got rid of the line. So all we have is the S and the B. S is for sale. B is for buy. Now, you don't have to see the S or the B in order to get in on the trade. This is just an extra confirmation, okay, for the trade setup. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3. Oh, and we also have 4 points. So in this indicator, we have built-in lines. So see this little skinny green line? Let me actually zoom in a bit. Let me see how close I can get. All right, that's as close as I can get. So on the bottom, you see this green line. Let me expand this. There's a straight green line and a straight red line, okay? So when it touches either or, okay, that counts as a point. So when it touches, as you can see, I don't know if you can see the wick, but there's a tiny wick there, all right? So it did touch this red line. That's considered another point, okay? So we have how many points? We have 1, 2, top of the Bollinger Band, 3. Oh, that's another thing with this strategy. Every 5 minutes, it gives a new arrow. So it refreshes the screen. So what that tells me, I have 5 minutes to explain this. So 1, 2, top of the Bollinger Band, 3, red line, 4, the S, we got the S, that's 4, all right. 5, we want to see the black line cross down on the red dotted line. You want that to cross down. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So second indicator, which is the RSI, it crossed down the red dotted line. That's 6 points already. Guys, this is actually an amazing trade. If you can get 6 points just even without divergence, this is an amazing trade, okay? So 6, now what would be 7 points, okay? So 7 points would be NZD USD. If NZD, the New Zealand dollar, see, it'll say it like right on the top left-hand side, right here, NZD USD, New Zealand dollar, all right, and the US dollar, okay? So if NZD has a smaller number to the alert panel, which is over here, all right, if it has a smaller number, USD is 83. If it has a smaller number, then that means that currency is weaker, okay, than the number on the bottom. So what we want to see is currency drop. We want it to see it fall down. Now, even though it's on a downward momentum, you know, and the trend is overall bearish, and bearish, just think of the bear walking, his neck is always down, okay? So whenever someone says, oh, it's a bearish trend, just think of the bear walking. His neck is always down, right? And then when you think of a bull, what does the bull do? He's always putting his horns up, right? Okay, so an easy way to remember it. So bearish market, you still have pullbacks. You can still find buy opportunities, but if you want to increase your win ratio, you want to go with the trend, right? Okay, so we have 7 points already. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. Oh my goodness, 7 points. NZD is weaker than USD. This is an amazing trade. Now, divergence, baby. Divergence. Look, this is what we're gonna. This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay, so we go to indicators. Let's see if we can find divergence here. We don't need it with this trade. This is an amazing trade setup. Okay. Oh, you know what? Let me just explain something to you guys. If you see the candles coming up, all right. Let's just say. Let me expand this a little bit more. All right. So you see the candles coming out, and this is for all the new people too. Actually, some of you guys probably still have trouble with this. That's trading right now, is the timing. So you don't have to roll over, okay? One of the things that I look for, all right, actually, you know what? Let me just add this so that it makes more sense. I'm going to add another, where is it at? RSI, Relative Strength Index, all right? So you guys saw where I went. I went to indicators, scroll down, and you go to, where is it? Relative Strength Index, add that. So now what I do is, I double click on it to open up the settings, and upper limit, bring that down to 60. Lower limit, bring that up to 40. Okay, and then I just change the color to black so I can see it. All right. Okay, guys. Now, what I noticed about this when I used it on Castrap, it did keep the indicator. So, let's see, how much time? 19 seconds. We're going to find out right now. 15 seconds. Let's see if it keeps the indicator. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. All right, everything is about to disappear. All my arrows. Refresh. Bam. Kept the indicator, which is great. Okay, so now that you see that the indicator is there, what I added was another RSI. So what I like about this, now on this trade right here, and I'm trust me, I'm gonna go into divergence here, but I want to show you something about timing. So if you're seeing this and you see that it touched the top of the Bollinger Band, okay, how do you know not to get in on the trade yet? Like, how do you know? How do you know not to get into the trade yet? Well, one of the things that I use are the bottom indicators, the RSI. This right here is the stochastic. It doesn't say it here. They took the name of it out. But the first one is the stochastic. The RSI is what really helps me determine the timing of getting in on a trade. All right. So if I see that the RSI is above the red dotted line, all right. If I see that the RSI is above the red dotted line and has not crossed down yet, it's still above the red dotted line. And you see how this one looks like it wanted to cross but didn't. If I see that the RSI is above the red dotted line, and same thing for this one, I see it's it's starting to move up. Okay, it's in an upward direction. It's pointing up. It isn't pointing down. It's still pointing up, and it could still break above my 60 zone, which is the top line here. Okay, so if I see that it stays above the red dotted line, then that means I know that this momentum of the market is still gonna go on just a bit longer. So each candle is worth 5 minutes. Now this is what I mean about patience. If you want to be a really good trader, you have to learn patience. A lot of people want to force the trade. You don't have to force the trade. Now, if you go back onto my YouTube channel and I show you the strategy on compounding, well, this is how I compound. I wait for the setup to come to me. I was just showing someone earlier today on how to compound just 4 trades a day. You don't have to do 10 trades. You don't have to do 20 trades a day or 30 trades a day. If you can do 4 trades a day, 5 days a week, you can get a $10 account to $1,000 or more. Let me repeat myself. If you can take 4 trades a day and you can compound that 5 days a week, okay, you can take $10 and turn it into $1,000 or more. All right. I went 25 and 5 this morning. This is very doable. 4 trades. That's it. 4 trades. Now, if you want to, you could go back and watch that YouTube video. I did it. It seems like it's one of the favorites among people. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm waiting for the cross down of the RSI. Same thing on the bottom. So if I'm seeing this come up, this is still above. I'm seeing the bottom RSI come up, and it just broke. Now it's barely breaking too. So it tells me that the strength is weak. It's not going to keep moving up. But what I'm looking for is the RSI to start coming down to about to cross. Okay. For me, now, when using the cash trap strategy, it's going to pop up an arrow. All right. So that's one of the indicators you want to use when getting in on this trade, because sometimes you'll see a red arrow because cash trap's calling, a sell, but there's still strength on the RSI. Okay. The market still wants to push up before the reversal. Yes, this is a downward momentum. This trend is bearish, and we're looking for sell opportunities, but you have to be patient and wait for the sell setup. So one thing you want to do is make sure before getting in on a trade, make sure that the RSI is starting to cross down before getting on the trade. Now, by the time it hits up to, this is 5, 10, 15 minutes has gone by right here, okay? So you have 15 minutes gone by, and by 15 minutes, you see a red arrow appear. As soon as you see the red arrow appear, you already see that it's starting to cross down. You see that the RSI is starting to cross down. You already see the bottom RSI like pretty much crossing down already. You could automatically get into that trade for 3 minutes for a 3-minute sell on a fresh, brand new 5-minute candle. Okay, so get in on a brand new 5-minute candle. Now, what's going to help you determine to have a sniper entry, this is what I like to do. I like to bring it down to the 1 minute. Okay, so let me let me put an arrow here. Okay, so we can see it on the 1 minute. How much time do we have left? All right, we have 4 minutes left. Drop this down to 1 minute. Okay, so that we can see the arrow where I placed it. Let's zoom in, expand it. Okay, check this out. So on the 1 minute, you see how, I mean, the market is really slow. This is the market. When you see the candles really small like this, I mean, this is tiny. The market is really slow. So one of the things that I like about Cash Trap is that it helps you with that arrow that it appears. It helps you determine whether or not you should get into a trade. Now, for this instance, okay, so let's just say the red arrow appear here. You have the cross down already starting before you get that red candle. Okay, and you see the bottom RSI, it's already pointing down. It's pointing down, did not cross, but we have two cross downs right here. Stochastic, RSI, both cross down before the red candle. All right, so it's already telling you it's about to happen. So if you get a red arrow that appears, you can get into that for 3 minutes. That would have cleared 1, 2, 3, would have closed on the bottom. Okay, so that's how I use that indicator. Now I'm going to show you on how to find divergent setups, and this is just on top of, you know, this strategy. So first thing I want to do, I'm going to scan the market simply just by, you know, clicking on the alert panel on the right hand side. You got USD. Let me see if I see a setup real quick. Let me just scan this. Euro USD, Euro JPY. Oh, did it take my indicator out? Yes, it did. All right, let's bring that back in there. Oh, what happened? Oh, there it is. Okay. JPY. No, it looks like. Oh, you see this right here? Let me just explain this real quick. Matthew Thayer just marked up his chart. I don't know if that was, I guess that's from today. He just marked up his chart. So you can see the lines that he put in, support and resistance lines. So when he's on later today, you'll probably see him use these support and resistance lines getting in on a trade for tonight. I believe he's on tonight. You guys can double check. Go on the Go Live calendar. I believe he is on tonight at, what is it, 10 o'clock? 10 or 11 o'clock? So yeah, he'll mark up the chart, and you can see, you know, exactly what he's looking at, which is pretty cool. I like that feature, especially when you're following an educator and you can see their strategy, their markups on, you know, on how they would get into a trade setup. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, you know what? The indicator does not stay on when you switch Euro JPY, when you switch different pairs. And I really, really want to show you this. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
So if you just go up to the save button, you can save it.
Oh yeah,
and
you're right,
name it,
right.
And then on any pair, you can just load that chart.
Guess what? I did save it. I remembered. JPY. Okay, you know what, I'm going to stick with GPP JPY and see if I can show you, because as I'm scanning the market, I'm looking for divergence. Let me see. This might be easier if I take it to trading view. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is what I mean by divergence. Okay, guys. So if you're seeing the market, this is what I'm seeing right here. I'm just gonna make this clear. So let me just double click here and make this black. Okay. So how much time I got left? 3 minutes. Okay, this is what I'm looking at. Bam. Bam. Okay. Now you can see divergence clearly when the market is going from left to right in consolidation phase, and this would be a consolidation phase right here. Okay. It's perfect. It's staying within a zone. All right, and we'll just mark it up. It's probably gonna. Let me see how much time I got left. I love this little. I got a time limit. All right. So you can see these two lines. Market is going up and down, up and down, up and down. You know, one of the setups that I like here is actually you probably can't see the wicks. Hold on. Let me get rid of that. We got 1, 2. Okay, right there. All right, first things first. Hold on a sec. We got 1 minute 1 minute 50 seconds left. So what I like to see is the RSI at its furthest point. Whenever I see a spike, okay, on the RSI, whether on the top or bottom, that's like the pinpoint of where I'm going to start from to get in on a trade. Okay, it's like a marker, basically. You know, like to find your way. I use the furthest point on the RSI. If I see a long dip, okay, right here, if it comes down, all right, like that, like a point, I'm going to use that as my focal point to use for a potential setup for a divergence, okay? Especially when it's consolidating like this. Now, when it's consolidating, you can find buy and sell opportunities here. Now here, I'll be waiting if it's already come down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. And remember how I said it's going to bounce, right? So if it's going to bounce on the bottom and reverse, I want to look for an opportunity because it gave me a focal point on the RSI. It came down pretty far right here, okay? So I want to look for an opportunity to get into another trade. So the market, now you don't have to stay just looking at this, pair. As you're scanning, this is what I'm scanning for: is the lowest point and the highest point on the RSI. That's what I'm scanning for, and I can see another divergence opportunity as well to the left. Oh no, did it reset me? Yes, it did. Okay, guys, you know what? I'm going to show you real quick on TradingView. Here we go. Just so that it's not continuously refreshing on me, guys. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what I look for. So one thing that I do is I add the RSI. You want to go ahead and add the RSI. and I switch to settings, 60/40. All right. And what are we looking at? We're looking at USD CAD right now. Okay, so this isn't a true RSI here, but this would have been a trade that I would have taken. You can see this clearly here. I'm gonna put into, let's add the Bollinger Band here. All right, so we added the Bollinger Band. All right, and if we can see horizontal line. If we put a horizontal line, that's going to give us a resistance area. All right, actually this is perfect, so you can see it, you visualize what I'm talking about. So for this opportunity, once you know where your resistance area, like your roof, where it's going to bounce off at, you have your first point. Now this obviously is not the setup that I'm looking for the first reversal. What I want to see is the market move, and this is the 1 minute. So this is going to be faster to find opportunities, all right? And this is gonna help you really get those sniper entries, all right? So what I do is I look for an area where it's reversed and is giving me a resistance, okay? It's giving me a roof, all right? So when it gives me a roof, I see the market come to that same price zone, all right? It came to that same price zone to test it again. I'm looking for an opportunity to get in on a trade. Now, what I look for when I mean divergence, if this is the highest point on the RSI right here to the left, okay, that is my focal point that I'm going to be using to get in on a trade in the future, okay? And I don't use that as like, a long distance. It's got to be like somewhat close together. It can't be, far away from each other. But this is a strong resistance area. So I'm going to use this, to show you what I'm looking for to get on a trade opportunity. Now, this right here didn't touch the top of the Bollinger Band, even though you see, that it did come up pretty close. And you see that the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, did not come anywhere near where it was at before, prior. All right. So as you see the market move and you see the market come up, it's basically breaking through the Bollinger Band and coming up to this area of resistance, that same price zone. But look what's happening to the RSI. It's not as high as it was when it first was at that previous point. Are you guys getting this? So if I see that it's lower than it was when it was at this price point the first time, if I see that it's lower, guess what? I'm getting in for a 3-minute sell opportunity. I'm getting in for a 3-minute sell opportunity. Now, the cool thing about this is that when divergence happens, you see this a lot. It'll test that zone 3 times. 3 times. It's very rare that it'll test it 4 times. When it does, great. Take the 4th trade. But most of the time, when it comes up again for the 4th time, it fakes you out. That's a breakout. Like, it'll keep on going. Like you're like, oh, it's coming to the same price zone again. No, that's where they get you. That's where the banks and these big guys, they get you because you're going in patterns and they're like, oh, we got them in a pattern now. Watch, they're gonna go for it. They're gonna put especially traditional traders, they're gonna put their stop loss here. Let's wipe them out. All that liquidity. Okay, so you don't. On the 4th time, I never take a fourth setup. If it comes 3 times, I'll take the third setup, but the fourth time, I just let it go. I'm like, I'll wait for another opportunity. But you have two opportunities that you could have gotten into right here. All right, two opportunities. I don't count this one as an opportunity because you have to be picky as a trader. It did not come up to the top of the Bollinger Band, or in the same price zone. So this would have been the two opportunities just on this one pair, USD CAD. So you have one here and you have one here. Now, guess what? Look at this. Let me move that down. Divergence happened again. Bam. Came up to test that same price zone, and look what happened. It was even lower. Now, come on, guys. Let me get some 333s if this is exciting to you. Like, just scanning the RSI, this is so visual. Like, it's very easy to find this type of setup, okay? It's very easy to find this type of setup if you're recognizing it. If you can recognize the divergence setup, okay, and you can recognize your base, okay, your roof, and your floor, your support and resistance, mark it up. Now, if you're a beginner and you don't really know how to mark up the charts, like, I don't really know how to mark up the charts, okay, well, you should be going through the academy first of all. But let me just give you the secret sauce real quick. All right, if you go to this indicator right here, and indicators and strategies, you're just going to type in Evan. Okay? When you type in Evan, it's going to say Evan Cabral Binary Strategy 2. When you click that, this is what it's going to look like. Actually, let me just add it right now so you can see it. It's going to have built-in support and resistance. Look at that. Look at that. It gave you built-in support and resistance areas. All right. So let me delete my line that I put in. Look at that. It built in your resistance area. I mean, this line came up, just a bit more, but still, it's pretty much in that area. This is the price zone. Okay. So when you see price come up, the red check mark means look for sell opportunity around this area. Green check mark means look for a buy opportunity around this area. But it's not 100%. So don't always go by check marks. Oh my gosh, a check mark came up. Let me look for a sell opportunity or buy opportunity. I don't even go by check marks. Okay. Well, what's more important to me is the support and resistance areas. Okay. You don't really need it if you know how to mark up your charts. All right. And you saw how I just marked up my resistance area, kept it clean. Okay. So all you need is your resistance, your price zone. Okay. And you had two opportunities. Very clean setups here. All right. So once you know what you're waiting for, it broke through the top of the Bollinger Band. You want to get in on that sucker. Right? It broke through the top of the Bollinger Band again, and it hit this zone area, this resistance, and it gave you divergence. 3-minute sell. 3-minute sell. All right. Now, same thing with the buys. So first things first, what I'm looking for, what are the highest points? What are the highest points of the RSI while you're scanning the market? Let me see if there's here we go. All right. This is a live setup right here, okay? So now we have what? Zone that we want to see price tested at. Now we're looking at USD CAD right now, okay? This is a live example. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen, resistance, divergence is going to happen right now. It'd be really cool if it did. But this is what I mean by look for the highest point, Okay, this is the highest point. This is my focal point that I'm going to be looking for to see if there's going to be a divergence happening. So if price comes back up to this same area, but you see that the divergence line, the RSI line, did not come back up to the same area. This is actually pretty high. It did not come back up. It was like down here. Okay, I would get into this opportunity for 3 minutes. It would be a 3-minute sell. Guys, this is how I scan the market very quickly. I just look for the highest point. So let's go ahead and
discuss. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, on the RSI, I thought if it was above the 60, then you don't want to take a sale because it could fake you out or something. So that's why I'm kind of confused now. Because the line is above the 60 line, and I thought if it's up there, that means it's all buys. But if there's divergence, you're saying
Okay.
if you see divergence, then you don't look at that. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, yes, I'm teaching divergence. So when
Okay.
it's above the 60, you can see that, guess what? It's still pulling up, right? It's still pulling up, but it's coming up to the same price zone. Okay, so if it's
Okay.
coming up to the same price zone, but it's not as high as the first highest point of the RSI,
Okay.
all right, that's divergence. That
Okay.
can get into a trade, whether it be a buy or a sell. All right, it works both ways. So if it's a buy, it'll be the opposite, on the bottom,
Okay.
below 40. Okay, so when you see that, you can get into a trade setup for 3 minutes
Okay.
using the 1 minute chart. I'm using the 1 minute chart.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, you're welcome. Yeah, guys, so when it's above the 60, which is the 60 zone right here, when it's above it, you're going to see this pullback last a bit longer, okay? But when you see that it comes up to the same price zone of where it was at the highest point of the RSI, this is a high point. This is a very high point, okay? That's going to be your focal point. That's what I look for. And when you guys are trading live with me, you see me use this. This is the strategy I use when I'm calling out trades live on Tuesday nights and you guys are making money with me. I'm using divergence to see the setup. Like I'm scanning through, I'm looking at Cash Trap, but I'm also looking at TradingView, and I scan the market, and I'm particularly looking at a divergence setup. And a lot of you guys have made money when I called out a divergence setup. So, and that's what I'm looking for. All right. So when the think of this when it comes up. All right. Think of this as fake news. All right. Fake news, because the real news is down here. Okay. This is what it's really telling us. It's like, it's not enough strength to keep going. This is actually weak, but it's showing us that it's at the same point, all right, the same price zone, but it's not really, the strength is not there the first time it was, all right, it's weaker. So that's divergence. It's doing the opposite of what the market is doing. The indicator is doing the opposite of what the market is doing. So if that makes sense to you guys, give me a 777. Awesome. Actually, Robert, Robert. Robert, unmute yourself. You can explain. Maybe you could explain that a little bit better.
Yeah, no, you're doing an awesome job, man. This is so good. This is like a secret weapon of mine. For a while, I've been using this, and it works for over 10, 15 years. This is awesome stuff you're teaching. So basically, I'm just going to point out one quick thing here. You can see here, the question we had was if the RSI is kind of high, doesn't that indicate that the momentum is to the upside? And in this particular case, you can see at that particular moment, let me get rid of that. You can see that this preceded the big move up, right? So even though, at that moment, you could have said, oh, there's a divergence there. What you want to look for is that peak here, this one here, you want to see it running out of steam. Okay, so basically what you have is it's basically made a topped out move and started to point lower. We call that trajecting lower. It's like when you have a cannon. Let's say you have a castle over here and you have a cannon over here. When the cannon shoots, the trajectory is the angle. So you want to see the trajectory start coming down, and it indicates that it's topped out, lost momentum, and starting to head back down. And what you can also do is always keep in mind, at that point when you can see it's already coming down a little bit, then you go ahead and you draw your divergence. So you're looking always for a peak and a second peak. So you can see it's already started trajecting lower, and then you have a confirmed line where you're going to see that it won't just keep going up, and then you have to change the angle. So once you see it start coming distinctly down, that's your cue to enter. And of course, don't forget to also combine it with other indicators. And you're looking for, here's another distinct V that's finished. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line there, and you can see how beautifully this gave us the retest before it came down here. So you can combine it with other, just wait for it to finish the move and start heading back down so you can see the V shape.
Right. Yeah, and that's another thing for you guys. I had this question before. How do you know the trend is reversing? Like, how do you know the trend is reversing? And one easy way to know when the trend is reversing, because some people get caught up in a trade thinking that it's going to continue on the trend. Well, real quickly, what you can do is you can just create a trend line. You can either use this one or this one, but go straight through, okay? Now, if it's trending up like it is now, once it breaks that trend line, that's it. That's when that trend starts to break and it starts reversing. It doesn't continue on going into that direction. And that's one easy way to do it. Okay, so if you just make a trend line and you see the market breaks through the trend line and it doesn't continue on to the trend, don't get into a trade setup for a buy to go with the trend. Okay. Another thing that I like to point out, why I would get into this trade for 3 minutes, a 3-minute sell, is I pay attention to the candles. All right. I pay attention who's winning. Is it the bulls or is it the bears? Now, if you see a long wick like this, well, guess who's winning? Guess who's pushing down on that candle? Is it the bulls or the bears? It's the bears, right? The sellers. The sellers are pushing down. And I love to see that, especially when you already understand divergence, you already see that it's come into the same price zone, and then you see this candle look like that, and you see, to me, it's like a war between buyers and sellers. And if you see the sellers pushing down, like, no, we're winning this, this 1 minute candle, okay, this time frame, when you see that long wick pushing down, I mean, that's just telling me, like, yes, this is a great opportunity to get in on a 3-minute sell. So if you're trading binary options or even traditional Forex, this could be a quick little scalp. But binary options, man, a 3-minute sell, you would totally clear that. Now you see it coming back up, just how Robert was explaining as well. You see it coming back up into that same price zone, and you see that divergence happening. I mean, these are solid setups when you're trading binary options. All right, so that I use. Yes, I do use like the stochastic, the RSI. I use Evan Cabral. I even use VDub as well. But I like to clean it up a bit, where I'll just put a Bollinger Band and an RSI, and I'll scan the market quickly. I'll click here and then use my arrow on the keyboard and just keep going down, scanning the market, looking for some high points and low points in the RSI. Okay, all I'm doing is looking for high points and low points in the RSI, but obviously, let's reset the chart. Obviously, what I'm going to be looking for, in the beginning, where are my high points in the RSI? Where are my low points in the RSI? So as I'm scanning, these are brand new. On live market, see right here. Oh, no. Okay, let's see. We might see one. Oh, here we go. Actually, it came all the way down. Look at that. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that high point to give me a focal point on, what's the next setup. Like if it comes right back up to this same area, I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to get in on a trade setup. All right, let's continue on. We might see some more. Oh, you know what? Let me see if I could show you that trade I took with Bitcoin. I saw it come down. Let me let me just scan the market really quickly, see if we can find another opportunity here. This isn't a true divergence. I would have liked to see it come all the way up to the same price point, but this is fairly close. It did hit the top, broke through the top of the Bollinger Band here, and you can see the RSI. It's way below where it was at before this high point. So this is some of the things I like to look for. Now this is a 1 minute chart, and if I see a setup, it's going to be for a 3 minute trade when I'm using a 1 minute chart. Okay, so hopefully you guys pretty much understand divergence now on the opportunities, and you can quickly just scan the market. I'm just using my arrows on the keyboard, just going up and down. And this is what I'll do. I'll just quickly look. Obviously you can't force the trade. You wait for the setup. But once you have that high point, obviously this is a high point right here. But once you have a high point, you have something to work with. And that's going to help you out for a future setup. All right, I think I'm gonna. This will be the end of the training for tonight. Let's go ahead. If you guys got any value out of that, give me some 333s in the chat. 333s in the chat if you got any value out of that. Awesome.
So I have a question for you.
Go ahead, brother.
Does the currency strength meter, does it make a difference during divergence?
When you're on a 1 minute chart, bro, when using divergence, to be honest, I never even look at the currency strength because it's such a short amount of time. It happens so fast.